I am so pleased to be joined today by Stephanie Robin, one of the founders of APNPI and wearer of many other hats in the photography world. Hey, Steph, how are you doing today?
Hi, good, thank you.
So I'm sure most people know, but for those who don't, I'm going to give you some career highlights. You don't have to do it yourself.
Great.
So Steph's been a newborn photographer since 2008, and I know this because she photographed my son Jude when he was a newborn, and we were actually her first like non-family, non-friend client. And it's kind of amazing how life comes full circle, and here we are, like 13 years later. Who would have thought, eh, Steph?
I certainly wouldn't have.
No. In that time, you've done so much in the world of photography. You have been a photographer for Canon, like a,
Yeah.
yeah, you have traveled all over, especially South America, Brazil, other places. I don't want to leave them out. So, um, done a video for Educator down in Brazil, which aired all over South America and other parts of the world as well. And gosh, tons of teaching up here, some throughout the United States as well. So it's
Yeah.
real, you are like a true master of the industry. So it's so good
Ah,
to have you.
thank you.
Did I leave anything out?
What's that?
Did I leave anything out?
Formed APNPI, I guess, with Kara.
Oh yeah, I said you were founder. Absolutely, you and Kara did.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So you're going to be doing two courses for the Academy, one being a course about safety, which I think is one of the things you're very well known for, and the other being a course on macros. Let's talk a little bit about safety first. At what point in your career did you decide you really wanted to put a lot of focus into newborn safety?
I think that happened around the time that I started to teach newborn handling. So, having that background as a physiotherapist, I sort of always approached my posing trying to figure out, what was it about the babies that allowed me to pose them sometimes easily and sometimes not. And that why behind, that always questioning, like, why do they react this way? And why are their fingers curled up here, but not here? Or, so that kind of led me to want to delve into their physiology and their reflexes. And I think at that point, I quickly realized that, there were some dangers associated with working with newborns as well. So I didn't always wear that sort of practitioner hat when I first started out. I started from a very artsy place, and I'll be the first to admit that I didn't always do things with the safest methodology. But when you know better, you do better. So
I was literally just going to say that.
yeah, so as I continued to develop my own skills, and back when we started, there wasn't any
Mhm.
training available at all. There were no
No,
resources.
there were none, especially for newborns. There might have been resources about, obviously, there were resources about how to work your camera,
Mhm.
but even those were like hard to find valuable and good information. So it would be like, I just remember it was always trial and error. It'd be like, okay, this weird thing happened, and what is that? And then you'd Google it. I don't even know if we had Google. You did something like Google, searching for like the answer to this random thing that happened. And
Yeah, remember when we were all like perplexed at how they were getting that infinity look in the background and nobody realized it was just they were hand holding the blankets up? Like
and
that's
that's the
where
thing,
it
like,
came
so you
from.
might have been able to find some information about general photography back then, but in terms of finding anything about newborn, it was really just like you'd look at people's work and try to figure it out, and maybe trial and error, and more often than not, I feel like it was error.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's one of the things, people started to share some of their behind the scenes images and things. And I would see things and think to myself, ooh, like there are certain things that were happening. And, so that kind of led me to start to write resources for different places. There was Learn, Shoot, Inspire. I wrote a bunch of
Right,
articles
yeah.
for them. I don't think they exist anymore, actually, but we started Newborn Safety Week, and that was back, I think the first one ran in 2011. So
Yeah.
since then, I've been advocating, in my own teaching, personal teaching with workshops and mentoring. I've been doing that since 2009. but online since 2011, really trying to head up some safety awareness in the communities, I think. So
Well, you've definitely done it. Bravo.
thanks.
Took 10 years, but I think that's and I didn't mean that like that. I meant it's been a long journey, and I think there's 10 years behind you of um constantly. I know, because we've worked together so much. I know that you're constantly trying to improve upon things, and like you said earlier, just get to the root of the why. So there's such a solid foundation there. I don't think there's anybody in the industry that, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. No offense to any other photographer, but I really don't think, and I've seen a lot of them, that there's anybody in the industry that approaches newborn posing and newborn safety the way that you do. So I think anybody that learns from you should really consider themselves lucky. Genuinely.
Aw, thank you. I
You're
think, yeah, we all
welcome.
have our own, everybody has their own reason why they think the way they think, or their own,
Mhm.
background and stuff, and what makes them unique. Obviously, that's part of marketing. And for me, I think especially the training as a physiotherapist, which
Mhm.
sounds strange that that would be so complementary to this posing, but really in my job, I had somebody comment to me the other day, like I could never do what you do, like handling bodies and moving body parts. But that's exactly what we're doing as newborn photographers,
Yep.
and working with, joints and ligaments and tendons and muscles and bones and reflexes, nerve tissue. And I think that it's really important to have a foundational understanding of the human body, especially in that newborn phase, because
Mhm.
there are things about newborns that make them unique, and there are things about their birth process that make them unique, and you can encounter lots of different situations and conditions with babies, and I think it's good to have like a base understanding if you're going to handle them and work with them.
I 100% agree, but obviously I was a student of yours as well, and learned learned what I know in terms of newborns from you. So, but I will absolutely say that, just reiterate again, that taking a class from you is one of the best things that a newborn photographer can do.
Oh,
You have
thank
so,
you.
and it's not just, I mean, obviously the safety is super important, and I don't want to ever take away from that, but you have so many little tips and tricks that really just make your job so much easier.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's like my main focus is always on the safety, but the advantage to that is that
mhm.
it makes things easier for the photographer. So your flow becomes easier, your ability to work with the baby in a settled state becomes a lot easier. So, and your transitioning is easier. So you can work through poses, and I think people don't understand that some of that physiology and reflex knowledge can really accelerate your sessions and allow you to accomplish more. So
Yes,
in an easier way.
100%. I would say prior to training with you, I would have, like, my average Uber session was that full 4 hours. And I can get it, like, obviously we encounter babies that are not as happy to be there as others, but even the grumpiest baby, I can still generally and confidently turn out a full session in an hour,
Yeah.
which, it sounds incredibly crazy for some people, but it's completely doable, and 100% because of the techniques that I learned from you. So
Ah.
everybody should take your safety class, because it's going to be more than just safety. And there's so much that you're going to learn, obviously safety being the priority, but so much that you'll learn that will also transform your work. So
Yeah, not only that, I think that course is also going to include some homework for people, and ways in which that they can, attract new clients and give their clients that feeling that they're safe when they're in studio. And there'll be some resources included as well that you can use in your studio space. So I think
love,
it's,
yeah, I
yeah,
love
all
action
around
tables.
going to be helpful.
Yeah, no, it's great. And this one will be broken down, will it? Or is it going to be so it'll be
Yes. So
yeah.
the safety course will be broken down by week. And I think we
Mhm.
have 5 weeks worth of content there with homework that is not hard. So don't
Yeah.
worry, but it's actionable, and you can put it into practice right away, and you'll start noticing the difference with your bookings and the satisfaction of your clients coming through your studio. So,
Great. I love it. So let's switch gears now and talk about your macro class. What is it about macros, Stephanie? You have always been a proponent of newborn macros. Why?
Oh, because I love them. I know, okay, so I'm biased, but
No.
they're super easy, okay, guys? Like macros are really, really easy. And I think the biggest problem people have is that they don't know how to sell them to their clients. So that's included as well. I'm going to teach you, how to profit from these macro images. And honestly, you don't need to put them into complicated poses in order to get them. You can get them in a lifestyle scenario. You can get them in a pose newborn scenario, or natural newborn sessions. They're easy, but also, there's always going to be those little details about the baby that are going to change so quickly, right? Like those luscious lashes they come out with, or the tiny little perfect fingernails and how long they are. And, these things change as the babies get older. But as a mom, I remember those little details, and I love to revisit them in my own images that I've taken of my own children.
Mhm.
So I often can look at those macro images now, and it just transports me right back to that time.
Which is obviously another great selling feature though, for the images themselves. Like you said, they do kind of sell themselves. And if you know how to position it and talk to your clients about it. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, love it. That's going to be a fun course too for people, I think, especially um, I feel like there's been a sort of almost a transition away from macros in a way. So I love that it's going to come, like it's coming back and people are going to focus on it. Because I remember that being a thing. Anyway,
Yeah. The other thing that I really love about the macro images is the use of the black and white macro, right? Like they're
yeah.
beautiful in color and black and white, but in the course, I'm going to teach people my black and white conversion and how you can make it into an action for yourself that's adjustable. So I think that's going to be a bonus for people because you can use that black and white action on your macro work, but you can also use it on your everyday newborn work.
Right. Yes. Bonus. Added value there, Stephanie. Love it. What excites you, or actually, no, I switched, I got ahead of myself. What's one thing about newborn photography that you wish you'd known earlier in your career?
Oh,
Ah,
yeah, you know what? Like, I'm going to do a little cross promotion here for Brian Caparicci's course in the
okay.
academy
That's
because
perfectly great.
I think how to price yourself is huge.
Mm,
Understanding, how to sell your images, how to price yourself, what your client actually wants, what they hire you for, but what they connect with. Those are two different things for
mhm.
me in my experience. And I think if you can get a handle of that and understand that early on, then you're going to do really well with your business. We all have to do well with our business to remain in business.
Yep.
So the posing is important, and obviously the safety, that's a baseline that I think we should all have an understanding of. But after that, I think if you can understand elements about business, it's not sexy. It's not one of those topics that people think, oh, I want to jump into that. But if you have some
Business major
understanding,
here.
yeah,
It's sexy. What are
well,
you
for you,
talking about?
I think though you will notice if you look at career photographers, so the people that are lasting longer than 5 years in the industry, I think a
Yep,
lot of us come into the industry wanting to last long, wanting to enjoy the
of course.
industry and profit in the industry for a long period of time. Those that remain in the industry, because you and we've been here for a long time. There's Anna Brandt, she's involved as well in the academy. She's been here a long time, and the common element that you'll see with people who are lasting in the industry is an understanding of the business side.
Mhm.
So without profit, we can't stay in business. So I think I would have wanted to know a little bit more about that earlier on in my career. That would have been helpful.
I love it. I love how you've given a little shout out to Brian too, because I think he is, like you, one of those treasures in our industry that has such a wealth of knowledge that I feel like more people should know about. Not
Yes.
that, I mean, tons of people do, but I think there could be more. um, so, what excites you about the industry or newborn photography specifically right now?
Ah, You know what, one thing for sure, I'm seeing a lot more awareness about safety, a
Mhm.
lot more conversations that are happening. You'll remember back in the day when I first started to talk about or pitch safety concepts, and there was a real rebuke against it. I mean,
There
people
was.
would, come after you like pitchfork in hand for mentioning anything, and yeah, we've had our jokes about that through the years.
We might own potato sacks that have something to do with that, but
We might.
we might.
But I'm
That's it,
loving,
sadly.
yeah, I'm loving seeing that awareness, and I'm especially loving that parents are starting to become aware and asking about it. And I think that that's huge. That's a massive shift in the industry.
Mhm.
The other thing that I'm wholly excited about is natural newborn work, and there's quite a few photographers that we've had on as judges with APNPI, like Patricia Vanden Bogart, who do a
Oh.
beautiful job of that natural newborn posing. And we have Laura Reeve actually joining us in the academy to teach
Oh,
about
yay!
that.
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, that's amazing. Laura's been doing that for such a long time.
she really has, and
Yeah,
she's
and she
so,
does
so
such a
good
good
at it.
job. Mhm.
So, I think it's exciting because it allows the photographer to express themselves as an individual as well, right? Because all babies are individual. And whereas with posed photography, there's a certain number of poses that you can achieve while being safe. Like the body's only going to move in so many ways. With natural newborn, it gives you more of that freedom to photograph from different angles and to look at things with fresh eyes and to focus on the individuality of the babies. And
Mhm.
I love that, and I think I see more of that happening in the industry, and that's great.
Yeah, I love that, and I love the ability to combine both skill sets too
Yes,
into a session. So your
I do
post,
that quite often.
because yeah, me as well. Because and it, you know, like you said, you get customers that come to you for what they think is a reason, but leave for a different reason. And
Yes.
that's what I would find. Like some would say, I actually feel like I probably, when I was doing newborn, attracted more for the less posiness of it because I was always kind of loosey goosey. I mean, I have my certain poses down. Like I love a good taco. Um,
Which is actually hard for a lot of
I
people.
never found it a challenge, and probably
Yeah,
because you taught me how to do it, I always thought it was the easiest pose ever. I was like, "Let's
me
I
too.
mean, clearly there are I've encountered a few babies that would not taco, but rare actually. I found
Mhm.
most babies as long it may be modified, but you found a taco and that baby was happy with that taco, and I would photograph the crap out of that taco. But in doing that, even though you'd almost start to incorporate some of those natural things. So I think that there was, and macros is a good opportunity when you're in taco. Anyway, enough about the taco because I'm hungry now. um, but I love the fusion of the two. And I think it
Yes.
can create a lot of versatility, really beautiful images. And you might get clients that came for you for those posy poses and leave because they love those natural things and vice versa. So if you can master both, I think you're in a really great spot. Obviously, being true to your style is super important too, and knowing why clients are coming to you. But I'd encourage people to give both a try, or especially if
Yeah,
you're a
I
post
think being able
photographer.
to fit those different, like check off those different boxes is
Mhm.
important, right? So
Well, it just makes you so much more well-rounded, right?
it
And the ability to
does.
offer something to everyone. And again, I find that people see what they want to see sometimes. So sometimes people would surprise me with what they would say about why they came to me. And I was like, huh, that's pretty specific. You just saw like one or two images that reflected that, and you decided I was your gal. Just fantastic. I love that you're here, but wouldn't necessarily be why other people hired me or why most people. So anyway,
Yep.
I think that this is fantastic, and there's going to be a lot that people are going to be able to walk away from with both of your classes.
I hope so. I do.
Yeah. What are you hoping they're going to walk out the door with?
I think that people will walk out the door with a good understanding of how to work with a baby in a safe way. So I think that, you don't have to know all the words. You don't have to know all the phrases. You don't have to know all of the reflexes down to, how they're labeled and how to work around them and all of that. It's just being able to read a baby in a better way in order to provide the safest methods for posing. And having a base understanding of some birth injuries or some complications that you may encounter with newborns, and how to work with that, how to adjust your session flow for that. So I think people are going to gain confidence, really, when they're working through the coursework. And just the things we mentioned before, like being able to have an easy flow and complete their sessions quickly, so it's not a stress on your families, and to be able to sell. I think that's important too. So I'm hoping they'll gain that, and then through the macro course, they're going to gain a whole other skill set and be able to plump out or round out those galleries. So
Mhm.
even when you have those fussy babies, here's a way that you can add to your gallery. You can provide like a lot of variety for parents, and also increase your sales, because those macro images can be sold in many different ways that I think sometimes people don't realize or think about.
Mhm.
And all it takes is talking about it and showing a few examples, and next thing you know, you're going to have those extra added sales on the end of your session that you
Yeah.
maybe weren't even counting on.
And fairly easy to achieve once you know how to do it too.
Yeah,
So
very easy.
yeah,
For
exactly. And
sure.
lots of like those in between moments when the baby's maybe not settled, but
Yes. And
something
even
about them
though,
is, you know?
we do recommend a macro lens. So that would be the one thing that you would want to invest in. But there are ways to achieve macro images without a macro lens. So,
Mhm.
through the course, I think you'll learn how to do this without a lot of added expense, which is important, right?
Yeah,
Like natural
all
light,
fine.
yes, a-okay. Studio light, a-okay.
Mhm.
No diffusion or filtering, a-okay. You can work with all different kinds of lighting situations for macro. So it's really great.
Love it. I think it's they're both going to be such great classes, and getting back to that, being a diverse photographer, being able to offer so much, this both of these courses, and especially the macro course, is going to offer that. So thank you so much for joining us today
Yeah,
and
thanks for
talking about your upcoming
interviewing.
classes. I know it's weird to interview you, but I
I
love it at
know.
the same time. All right. Everyone, I strongly encourage you to take both of Stephanie's classes. I think that anytime you get the opportunity to learn from her, take up the offer. So, with that being said, everyone have a great day. You too, Steph. Oh my God!
Thank you.
One last thing. Happy birthday.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's my 30th birthday yet again.
Yes, 30th. That's right. That's right. And I'm only a little older than you.
Hmm.
All right. You go enjoy your birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to talk with us on your birthday.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
All right. Bye, everyone.